Ogbe Iwori, Ogbe Iwori.
Ifa declares that prosperity will follow the person who received the Ogbe Iwori, also known as Ogbe Iwori. Ifa advises that they should offer a sacrifice. This is what Ifa said. Ogbe turns backward like a dog chasing a squirrel. The dog catches the squirrel and the squirrel screams. This was the divination for the king of Oyo on the day he woke up and realized no one was serving him anymore. The king of Oyo consulted Ifa because he lacked servants. He was advised to offer a sacrifice. He made a sacrifice and the offering was accepted. Ifa was cast for the king of Oyo, and not long after, his servants began to multiply. Everything started improving for him. Servant came in abundance. He began to praise the Babalawo, and the Babalawo praised Ifa. The Babalawo said, Ogbe turns backward like a dog chasing a squirrel. The dog catches the squirrel, and the squirrel screams. This was the Ifa divination for the king of Oyo on the day he woke up and realized no one was serving him anymore. Ifa said, I, like the Iroko tree in the forest, will always have people to serve me. Even in the deepest parts of the forest, the Iroko tree never lacks those who come to worship it. Ifa promises blessings for the person who receives Ogbe Iwori. Whatever they do, nobody will be able to check and balance them. Ifa advises that they should offer a sacrifice.
Ogbe Iwori, Ogbe Iwori.
When their word is joyful, when their word is thriving, it is a sign of moral decay. An oracle was consulted for Onigbimo, who did not adhere to tradition and introduce his wife to the Oru deity. Onigbimo, as described by Ifa, was a wretched individual who wandered aimlessly. Despite working tirelessly from morning till night, he never saw any profit. When he struggled to understand his circumstances, he connected the dots and went directly to an Ifa priest. The priest instructed him to make sacrifices, assuring him that if he did so, he would become wealthy and a powerful leader in the society. However, Onigbimo failed to perform these sacrifices. At one point, circumstances unexpectedly changed for him. In this village, the Oro rites are performed annually. Onigbimo's wife constantly urged him to take her to the sacred grove of the Oro deity, expressing her desire to learn about this deity. Eshu went to see Orunmila to inquire whether Onigbimo had performed the prescribed sacrifices. Orunmila confirmed that he had not fulfilled his obligations. Now it was left to Eshu to enact punishment. The spirit of Eshu entered Onigbimo's wife. Again, when it was time for the yearly Oro rites, Onigbimo's wife approached him, persistently questioning whether he was hiding anything from her. She nagged him about wanting to know the Oro deity. In Yoruba land, it is a taboo for women to enter the sacred grove of the Oro deity or even to see the deity itself. Eshu commanded the husband to heed his wife's wishes, and he agreed to take her to the sacred site of Oro. However, to do so, he instructed that the large basket be prepared to contain her, with a small hole for her to peek through. This basket is what kings traditionally rested their feet upon in the sacred grove of the Oro deity. When the time came to perform the Oro rites, they arrived at the sacred grove and compelled all rituals and sacrifices, consulting the oracle with kola nut, which yielded no positive responses. As they conducted these rites, Onigbimo's wife viewed everything through the hole in the basket. The sacrifice was rejected, prompting the priest to investigate the cause. He spoke to Ifa, and the Ifa priest sang. We called Ita, Ita did not speak. We called Pakoko, Pakoko was silent. The priest instructed others to open the king's basket. When it was opened, they discovered Onigbimo's wife inside, and she was brought out. When this happens, the woman who entered the sacred grove of the Oro deity and the king who brought her will be killed. Without hesitation, they executed both Onigbimo and his wife within the sacred grove of the Oro deity. After their death, the sacrifice was accepted by the deity. This Ifa teaches us to avoid disobedience and to respect sacred tradition.
Ogbe Iwori, Ogbe Iwori.
When their head is not of a good fortune, they will seek help from those with good fortune. This was the Ifa divination for Orunmila when he was seeking the spiritual crown of Ishwadara. Orunmila wanted to claim the spiritual crown. Orunmila approached his friend Ishwadara and asked to borrow the crown, promising to return it once he had used it to claim his title. Ishu agreed and gave the crown to Orunmila, who then became a chief. Afterward, when it was time to return the crown, Orunmila refused to give it back. Ishu went to Orunmila and asked for his crown. Orunmila then sought the advice of the Babalawo, asking how he could keep the crown without returning it to Ishu. The Babalawo cast Ifa and told him he needed to make a sacrifice. Orunmila offered the sacrifice, and the Babalawo created an image that resembled a head but was not a truly head. They placed it at the crossroad, and when Ishu arrived, he grabbed the fake head only to find out later it wasn't his crown. He went back to Orunmila saying that what he had was not his real crown. Orunmila replied that the head he gave him was the one Ishu had lent him, and he had no other head to return. Thus, Orunmila kept the spiritual crown of Ishu. When Orunmila spoke, he sang a song of Ifa. Ishwadara, stop troubling me. A head cannot be used twice. Ishwadara, stop troubling me. The lesson from Ifa is that anyone who receives Ogbe Iwori should not borrow anyone anything they cannot forget about. This is because the person you borrow something may not wish to give it back.
Ogbe Iwori, Ogbe Iwori.
And we always look back just in case a visitor is coming. An oracle was consulted for Ibure, who was preparing to go to Alero farm that year. Ibure sought guidance on the journey he wished to undertake, inquiring whether it would be fruitful and whether he would become a landowner there. The oracle affirmed that the journey will indeed be good and prosperous. He was advised to offer a sacrifice, which he dutifully performed. Upon reaching the farm, Ibure became a landowner, and everything he possessed began to flourish. In gratitude, he praised the diviner, who in turn extolled the wisdom of Ifa. Thus, the Ifa priest said, I will always look back just in case a visitor is coming. An oracle was consulted for Ibure, who was preparing to go to Alero farm that year. If you pass through farm heaps, we always pass through the farm heaps of Ibure. If you pass through farm heaps, we always pass through farm heaps of Ibure. This Odu speaks to the vastness of Ibure's farm and highlights his success as a farmer, emphasizing the abundance of land he possesses.